altered my cousin's old wedding dress for my own ceremony. Now she's calling me a trashy bride and trying to sabotage my marriage. I thought a free wedding dress was a blessing. Turns out it came with a curse. I'm getting married in mid-October to my fiancé, Ryan, 19M. We're planning a small, intimate wedding, mostly just close friends and family. But even with a small wedding, the logistics have been a nightmare, especially considering my mom has 7 siblings, each with a litter of kids. When it came to the budget, I realized that buying a brand new wedding dress wasn't realistic. So I started considering redesigning or upcycling an old one instead. I mentioned this to a few people, and not long after, my cousin Katie, 40F, reached out. Now here's where things get weird. Katie got married in 2015, but the marriage barely lasted. She divorced soon after, cut herself off from most of the family, and basically became a ghost at family gatherings. So I was shocked when she suddenly offered me her old wedding dress. Her exact words: "I don't want it anymore. It's just collecting dust. If it fits, it's yours." First, I was grateful. The dress was gorgeous, and the thought of giving it a second life made me excited. But I knew I needed to alter it. It had a super long hem, sleeves that didn't fit my vibe, and a dramatic train that would get wrecked at my outdoor wedding. So I made some simple changes to modernize it. I shortened the hem. I removed the sleeves. I adjusted the bodice to fit me better. It was still elegant and timeless, just better suited for me. I tried it on and felt beautiful. My mom and friends loved it. We were all feeling warm and fuzzy about this repurposed sentimental dress, until my mom sent a picture of me in it to Katie as a thank you. And that's when all hell broke loose. She called me screaming that I ruined her dress. Katie's response? A cold, single text message. "You destroyed it." I was confused at first, but then she called me, and let's just say she wasn't calling to wish me a happy wedding. She was livid. "How could you do this? That dress was special," she raged. I reminded her that she had said she didn't even want it. She literally told me she had no emotional attachment to it. Her response: "Well, I didn't, until I saw what you did to it." Mind you, this woman is never getting remarried. She never planned to wear this dress again. But suddenly, I had committed a personal crime against fashion. She went on a long rant about how I should have, at least, asked permission before making changes. I calmly reminded her, "You gave it to me." I thought that meant it was mine. She wasn't having it. She kept going on and on about how I had disrespected her, how I should have just bought a dress if I hated her so much, and how I made it unrecognizable. And then the real crazy started. She started telling everyone that I slept out her dress. This is where it gets absurd. Katie didn't just keep this between us. Nope. She started telling anyone who would listen that I slept out her dress and humiliated her. What were my alterations? Shortening the hem so I wouldn't trip. Removing sleeves. Adjusting the bodice to fit properly. I wasn't walking down the aisle in a mini skirt and pasties, for God's sake. But apparently, because my ankles were now visible, I had turned into some kind of bridal harlot. And just when I thought it couldn't get any dumber, her mom, my Aunt Samantha, 56F, jumped in. She called me out of the blue to tell me that I was spoiled and taking advantage of Katie's generosity. Excuse me? Generosity? She literally gave me the dress. And now, suddenly, I was the villain because I wore it? The family split into 2 camps. The ones who thought Katie was being ridiculous and the ones who thought I should make things right by finding a new dress. I wasn't about to back down. And just when I thought things were cooling down, Katie took things even further. Update: she's trying to sabotage my wedding. A few days later, my fiancé Ryan came to me fuming. Apparently, Katie messaged him directly. She told him that my homemade dress made our wedding look cheap, and that he should be reconsidering marrying someone who won't even put in the effort to buy a real dress. I was furious. But you know what? Ryan handled it like a king. He immediately shut her down with one single brutal line. "I think she's put way more effort into this dress than you ever put into your marriage." Mic drop. She had nothing to say to that. But instead of leaving it alone, she went full scorched earth mode. She started telling our extended family that my wedding was a shotgun wedding and that Ryan was only marrying me for my family's money. Newsflash: I'm not pregnant and Ryan is a mechanic who makes 6 figures. If anything, I married up. Now, some of my cousins aren't sure if they want to come to the wedding. Over a dress. I was done. I reached out to Katie one last time and told her that because of all the drama, rumors, and nastiness, she was no longer invited to my wedding. Her response: "Good. I wouldn't show up to your pathetic excuse of a wedding anyway. Just wait. Your marriage will crash and burn just like mine did." 5. Update: 2 months later. The wedding was perfect, and she's still bitter. The wedding: absolutely amazing. My dress: stunning. The alterations were perfect, and I'm so glad I shortened the hem because it had rained the night before. Katie didn't show up, but her mom, Samantha, did. And what did she do? Tried to shade me during her speech. She started out fine, congratulating us, but then said, "And you even made your own dress." I mean, not really. Actually, it's barely recognizable. I didn't even flinch. I just smiled and said, "Well, thank God for that, huh?" The room laughed. Samantha turned red. And I went on with the best night of my life. Katie? She hasn't spoken to me since. And honestly, good. Final thoughts. Katie is still bitter and uninvited. Ryan and I are happily married. My dress turned out perfect. And I have 0 regrets. Lesson learned: never accept a wedding dress from a bitter divorcee. It might just come with a side of insanity.